morning.
Roger, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, like ringing a bell. Ding
Oh,
dong.
well, good morning to you, sir. How's everything going? How's the summer been going? You guys have a few dates under your belt now?
Yeah,
Things are
we've done we've done three so far this year. Um, obviously we had a year and a half because of the COVID nightmare. Um, it was kind of weird. Well, it was very strange. I didn't see the band for like a year and a half. We got together about. We have a studio down in Florida where we record everything in DeLand, Florida. We made our last four albums there, and we rehearse and record there. And we didn't see each other for like well over a year. It was kind of strange. It was nice seeing everybody. We all hugged. We've all been vaccinated, so we're okay. It was yeah, I missed everybody. But it's nice to be back on the road. I ain't gonna stop. Gonna roll till I'm old. Gonna rock till I drop.
uh absolutely. And you guys are going to be here in my neck of the woods here in Eldon, Missouri, which is beautiful. It's actually right down in the Lake of the Ozarks. I don't know if you've watched the show Ozark on Netflix, but that's where you're heading this weekend, Roger. It's going to be great.
I watched the Ozark. Very interesting. Huh? Accountants. Who would have thought?
That's how we do it here in Missouri. You never know. Never trust a person just by their looks. So this is great. We got you here, and Eldon. It's at the Shawnee Bluff Vineyard. And I want everybody to make sure that they're aware of this. This has been a great venue. Lots of very major acts playing this venue over the last few years. What's kind of the schedule like for you on these type of shows? You fly in for the weekend. I think that's how a lot of bands have been doing it for a long time. Is that how you guys do it? Just kind of fly in to St. Louis or something and head over?
Most about 90% of our dates are all fly-ins. Occasionally we'll do do a sprinter run. If the dates are like within 350 miles of each other, we'll drive, which is okay. In fact, when we did our album, 8 Days on the Road, there it is.
Wow.
That was on a sprinter run. We had 3 or 4 dates in a row. I kind of enjoy it because you get to hang out with the band and like talk about stuff, and we have a really good driver also acts as something else, manhandles people and make sure everything's working.
kind of brings you back to the old days, toting around England, probably in a small van, sleeping in dingy hotels. There's certain camaraderie that comes with that.
Actually, but Foghat's always been like a band of brothers. We've always, when it comes to sort of being on the road, some of us relish it more than others. Lonesome Dave, our original lead singer, loved it. So, like Dave and I would love being on the road, whereas I think Rod Price, our lead and side guitar player, original one, he found it difficult being on the road. He was more of a homebody, but I like being out there. The smell of the grease paint and the roar of the crowd, or is it the smell of the crowd and the roar of the grease paint? Sometimes I'll get confused. No, I love my job. I love playing, and I'm one of those fortunate few in this world who gets to earn a decent living at something I really love doing. So careful what you wish for.
Well, this beautiful thing called Foghat has survived so many things, from deaths, up and downs, just like any band would that's been around for as long as you guys have. But talk about, Brian and Charlie, who've, been with you for over 20 years now, and kind of what they've meant to the legacy of Foghat here.
Well, Charlie Hune, our lead guitar player and lead vocalist, was a big fan of Lonesome Dave's anyway. In fact, they met a couple of times when we were out on the road. So that worked out really well. Brian Bassett's actually been with the band more closer to 24 years. He played with Lonesome Dave for a couple of years as well. Brian's the bright one in the band. He produces all our record and engineers everything. He was an engineer before he joined the band. There was a blues studio down in Florida that he worked at. He was a head engineer there and producer. So we got some real talent in the band. Brian was also the lead guitar player in Wild Cherry, played that funky music white boy. So he's our funky white boy in the band. Charlie Huhn, of course, played with Ted Nugent for a number of years. We saved him from that.
Oh,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
We love you, Ted. No.
Just kidding. And in fact, we met Charlie. We'd actually done some shows with Ted and Charlie, but I didn't get a chance to meet him then. But Charlie was the lead singer in Humble Pie for a while, and Lonesome Dave, this is when Lonesome Dave was alive. And we were real good friends with Stevie Marriott, the lead singer in Humble Pie. So when we saw Humble Pie, we were doing a date together, and Dave and I said, well, let's go and see what this lead singer's got under his fingernails, who's singing our mate Stevie Marriott's tunes. And Charlie was great. Anybody who can sing Stevie Marriott songs or Humble Pie songs has to have a great set of pipes. So yeah, Charlie's always up for playing. The band gets on great. It's a lot of fun, actually.
As it should be. That's what we're in this for, right, Roger? And for you, why is it important for you that this keeps continuing on the way it is? I mean, there's a legacy here, but for you, kind of the elder statesman of Foghat, why you're the ringleader here. Why is it important that this continue?
Yeah, I'm the ringleader, all right. It's like, well, I'm not that good a fisherman, so I can't really earn a living at that. So it's like, careful what you wish for in this world. This is something I always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. And I've been real fortunate. I played in a number of great bands. I've always played with great musicians as well. I think that's always really helped, sort of keeping you on, focused. Like when I was in Joint Savoy Brown, when I was 20 years old, I mean, Kim Simmons is a great guitar player. Lonesome Dave was great. Chris Jordan, our lead singer at the time, was a fantastic singer and guitar and pianist as well. So I always played with great players. Even the first band I was in was with three guys that I went to school with when I was, in, I guess, 13, 14, around there. And they've been playing since they were like 9 or 10 years old. So, yeah, careful what you wish for. I love my job.
That simple as that. I love it. And we're so excited to see bands like yourselves back and playing live. I know we're a little ahead of schedule here, but I got to bring this up because I don't know when we'll get a chance to talk to you next, Roger. It's always a pleasure. But July 1972, the first Foghat record comes out. So we're 11 months away from the 50-year anniversary of the Foghat debut. We're a little ahead of ourselves, but I gotta bring it up. Just memories of that. I mean, your first single, I Just Want to Make Love to You, is a huge smash hit. 1972, take us back and just kind of take us through what the recording of that first album. And can you believe it's been almost 50 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, time flies when you're having fun. I've had more than my fair share of that. Yeah, it was, we were struggling. We finished the record in Rockfield in Wales back in 1971, 72. Dave Edmonds was our producer. He really, I think, made the record sound great. We struggled in Europe to earn a living because our previous manager blackballed us and stopped us from playing, which was a bit of a drag. But Albert Grossman signed the band to his new label. Albert Grossman was the manager of Peter, Paul and Mary, Bob Dylan, the band, Janis Joplin. So when he sort of took us on, it was like all we had to do was come up with the goods and write music that people wanted to hear. So it was great. Our manager gave us a call, but the album was released over here in the States. And he said, we're booking a tour over here because they're playing Just Want to Make Love to You on the radio. We actually did a 3-week tour in England with Captain Beefheart. That was really interesting. Actually, it was a lot of fun. They were great. They were a great band. It was terrific. We had a good time. We did 3 weeks and then we were out of work again. And then we came to the States. I think our first tour was 13 months. My daughter wasn't walking before I left and she was walking when I got back home. And then she said, "Who's that strange man in bed with you, Mummy?"
That's always a great way to start a father-daughter relationship. Well, congratulations, because 2021 is the 50 years of Foghat, the 50th year of the band, so to speak. So congratulations for all that. And for this, I don't know how much you're aware of the American film from 1993, Dazed and Confused, but it is a snapshot, of course, of the 1970s with just a wonderful cast. Matthew McConaughey's first movie, Ben Affleck.
Right.
And Foghat has not one, but two songs on the soundtrack, which has become legendary over the years and helped a lot of people discover so many bands from that era. So I didn't know how familiar are you with that movie, and how, having two songs on that soundtrack, that's pretty amazing. Well, I mean, Black Sabbath only has one.
That it did help a lot. That and Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
We get a lot of younger people coming to see us, which is good, because probably my generation are probably sitting at home in their armchairs and watching TV. No, we have the band is doing great. Even though we had a year and a half off prior to that, we would be selling out shows and doing great. We get a lot of younger people coming, which is really cool. So I guess maybe we got it right in the first place. If new people are sort of digging the music, we're real fortunate like that. And Foghat was always a live band. We always, it was all about the music. It was never about anything else. We don't get all messed up and drunk before we go on stage and stumble around and drool on ourselves. It's about the music. It's always been about the music with this band. Do what you want afterwards, but when music is enough, it's like I said before. It's I love what I do, and I've always played in a great band, and they're great players as well.
Well, kind of talk about your upbringing, and you kind of come from a musical family. Your brother Colin, played with Jerry Mungro, and
Jerry.
Yeah, what talk about just your upbringing and what kind of set you off on this path?
Actually, Mungo Jerry, the lead singer in Mungo Jerry, Ray Dorset, was a singer in the first band I was in. We went to school together, and the same with the bass player and the other guitar player. So I joined that band when I was 16 or 17. They'd been playing since they were like 10 or 11. My brother Colin was the piano player in Mungo Jerry. My father played piano. He was actually a panel fitter at Aston Martin's in the 50s, which that was their old place in Feltham, which was only like 2 or 3 miles from where I lived, southwest London. And but Dad played piano and sang. He would, like in pubs and stuff on the weekends. And Mum had a good voice too. So there was always music in the house. In fact, Dad, one lunchtime, brought home a Jerry Lee Lewis record. I can't quite remember which one it was, but the B-side was Mean Woman Blues. And my father said, "Yeah, have a listen to this boy, son. He can really play the Joanna." So about 3 months after that, Dad took me to Jerry Lee Lewis, came over to it in 1961, I think it was, and took me to see him. And I was never the same after that. In fact, my mother said, it addled his brain. He was never the same after that. Actually, I was real fortunate. I had great parents. They always encouraged us in our endeavors, whether it be music. I was a commercial artist until I joined Savoy Brown. Then one of them had to go. It was commercial art, but it was music was always in the house. There was always music on the radio. We had a tape player. We would record stuff off of the radio, and anytime the TV had some kind of musical venture on, we had extra speakers. So even back then, it was all about the noise, the sounds.
Well, you guys come out and are at the forefront of so many things that are happening in rock. In Great Britain at the time, you had Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple were all kind of rising up in the ranks. Did you find yourselves kind of relating more with those bands, or were you guys looking more at kind of American rock and roll that had come from kind of the late 60s and starting in the early 70s? What bands were you kind of identifying with at the time you guys were coming out?
It was. I don't think it was about identifying with bands specifically for me. It was always about the music. I mean, I grew up listening to Little Richard, Chuck Berry. Then I, discovered Muddy Waters, which is where everybody else got it from, and John Lee Hooker. American blues music. I mean, America gave music to the world. I mean, we have country, rock, blues, jazz. I mean, everything comes from blues and jazz, gospel music. This is the land of music. There's this beautiful, wonderful melting pot from all over the world in this country, from European, folk songs and melodies to, the Africans when they came over here and they brought all their sort of rhythms and music and attitude. It was, and there's this wonderful melting pot. They're all connected. There's the blues is connected to country music, and whereas the same as the blues and jazz is connected to gospel music. Not that too many gospel people will say that, because but it is. They're all interconnected. It's all like this wonderful melting pot. And even to this day, the US gives American artists impress and change music all over the world and impress people. I mean, even R&B and rap artists now are still sort of making waves all over the world. Afghani rappers, Japanese rappers, French rappers. Of course, the English is pick up on it. So it's, even to this day, America sort of gives music to the world, and we brought it over here. We used to have this saying in England called taking coal to Newcastle. See, Newcastle is where they sort of dig up the coal. So why would you take it there? And sort of like bringing blues, rock and roll to America was like a little daunting for us at first, because this is the land that it was born in. So, but we managed to get by.
What are your memories of your first trip to America, your first US tour? What was that like for the band?
It was great. We got here, and our H2 visas haven't come through. We got the H1s, which means you come into the country, but you can't perform until you have an H2. So we're in, our first show was in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So we drove out there. We were playing at the park there. Our fee was $1,350. And but because we didn't have our H2 visas, we couldn't take the money, but we played. And they sent the money the following week, I think, because we got our visas. But you can play, but you can't take the money, which is fair enough. But hey, people in the Midwest, they say they are the very best. I tend to agree with that.
We'll find out here this Friday, Roger. We can't wait to see Foghat here in Eldon, Missouri, and we hope that I hope that with this venue, it's a wonderful place. The show Ozark will have no relevance to what happens here, and we just hope that everything goes off without a hitch, man. Marty Bird, there is a bar called Marty Bird's right near where we're going to be, but Marty Bird himself will steer clear. Roger, you're the best, man. We always appreciate it. Cannot wait to see you here Friday. And I want everybody to make sure that they go to the website. That's where you can get tickets, foghat.com. Simple as that. Roger, you're the best, man. And we can't wait to see you, brother.
Clint, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Maybe I'll have some breakfast now. But,
yes, you've earned that right. It's only noon. You go right ahead, sir.
Are you going to come to the show?
Absolutely.
All right, come on around on my cage, all right?
You betcha. I will.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.